We can see that a local crawfish actually found this a suitable spot to mold its shell. That's right, the Chesapeake Bay does have crawfish. I'm gonna show you something we all should be excited about. This right here is probably the most vital piece of vegetation the Chesapeake Bay has. This stuff is called eel grass. Now, eel grass is not to be confused with algae, because algae doesn't actually have roots, it just has anchor points. Bay grasses, like any other plant, have roots that dig down into the soil. Those roots are what allow this plant to be one of the great pollution absorbers in the bay. Algae eat by diffusing the nutrients in the water into their cells. Bay grasses actually absorb and respirate in the water through their roots, sucking up CO2 and excess nutrients, and then delivering the ever-important and always in short supply, oxygen. Algae usually being thick and gelatinous, animals don't find it easily navigable. And algae tends to be so thick that it blocks out the sunlight. Because of this, animals of all sorts seek shelter in these grasses. You can see this little pod of minnows hanging out. And fields of bay grasses are well-known protection zones for animals that need to molt, like our famous blue crab. Now, alarmingly, in 2019, the Chesapeake Bay lost 40% of its eelgrass population. The loss of these bay grasses have been one of the most serious factors in the decline of the blue crab and rockfish population. All this is exciting because we are in the upper part of Back River, one of the most polluted bodies of water around Baltimore City. This is where you see us pulling all of that trash out of, and this is where a lot of that raw sewage you hear being reported dumped and spilled runs down into. This is also the location of the famous Back River wastewater treatment plant. Bay grasses are super sensitive to pollution levels. Too much nutrients often caused by too much rain, too high of a temperature of water, and they die off. And they actually grow and spread by seed. This is one of the only underwater grasses known whose seeds have been known to be harvested and eaten by any sort of human. But those seeds take 2 years to implant themselves and mature and produce their own seeds. So it's got a long life cycle. And when that's interrupted, it can leave some barren wastelands. So it's really a vicious cycle. Pollution comes in from runoff and sewage overflows, encourages algae blooms and cloudies the water with sediment, which in turn kills bay grasses. Dead bay grasses leaves barren soil, which increases the rate of erosion. A higher rate of erosion then again increases the cloudiness of the water, continuing to discourage any other plants to grow. These lack of grasses and protection, food, and oxygen in the water then kills off any wildlife like fish and crabs. They can get a self-sustaining barren wasteland. You can see here this water's pretty clear. Grass seeds apparently find the salinity levels and the temperature to be just right for growth. And in this part of the bay, that might be one of the best signs I've seen since I started fighting this pollution.